Going on, everybody? Good old JM here with you on this Throwback Thursday as we present yet another out of the archives right here on the Casa D18 Studios. JJ, I know, has been working tirelessly to comb through everything on the NoDQ channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, on his own Casa D18 Studios, on the J. Hebert 95 Studios, the Simple Man brand, to present to you something that you may not have seen before, something that you haven't seen in a long time, perhaps. I know I'm looking forward to what the Renegade has in store, and I hope you are too. Kick your feet up, enjoy a little respite from the craziness of a Thursday, and enjoy this classic content right here on the Casa D18 Studios.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Jeff Meacham Network. The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like,
who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
Well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host.
you could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
The Renegade, J.J. Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am the founder. We'll call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it!
The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the He-Man, James Hebert. Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies! There you go! It sells
God.
Get in there!
Showed his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ, give it time.
Now, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that
Dumb move, just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
He is no longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to... No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen!
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So it's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine. And
That's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
Football thing. We got it on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the fan goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, brilliant.
All right. Well, I'm going to let JJ take the lead as far as introducing the topics because I'm spent on being host guy, but I definitely want to bring these up since we three are still here, and Noah will be back here in theory before the end of the night. We'll see if he actually goes to bed because I wouldn't blame his ass for that either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, right?
I'm trying to remember what all the topics are. I know there were a couple.
Right? I'm like, my brain is just so fried at this point.
I don't know what the hell we're talking about. Oh my god, man.
Did we even use the open mic night chat, or did we just go ahead and do it in the main chat?
I don't remember.
I don't either. Christ almighty.
Okay, yeah, it was the open mic night chat. Okay, so the first topic that came up over the course of the week,
right?
And I know it's something that James definitely has a rather strong opinion on. AJ Styles has commented that he feels that Mike Mizanin, The Miz, is the best heel in professional wrestling today.
Oh, geez.
Well,
keywords here are
all right. Today, sure.
Today.
So let's leave the NWO, the Ric Flairs, the Pipers in his day. Today.
There we go. Gotcha. Okay. If we're talking today, it's still MJF, depending on if his bullshit tonight was a work or not.
Right.
No. See, the fact that there's a footnote there, the Miz.
It's only a footnote right now, but if it turns out to be an elaborate work, then I'm gonna say MJF for now and put an asterisk to it right now.
All right. JJ, go ahead. What you were going to say?
I was going to say, you've got to, I know it's easy for you, James, to dismiss WWE. And I'm not saying I completely agree with AJ's assessment here myself. I know it's easy for you to dismiss WWE, but you got to keep in mind how long The Miz has been being The Miz. How long The Miz has been getting under the skin of the fans, specifically in the WWE universe. You've got to remember that this is the man that wasn't supposed to make it. He was the runner-up to Tough Enough. Daniel Puder beat him. Anybody remember him? I didn't think so.
Pepe Tron's members.
The Miz was the runner-up. He was the stupid in-arena host for SmackDown.
Yes.
While being hazed and bullied by Bradshaw backstage, amongst others.
Oh, yeah.
And he's now a two-time WWE champion.
Only two-time Grand Slam winner in the current format.
Not to mention IC, US, Tag, etc. He's taken many a person under his wing. Damian Mizdow, anybody?
Right.
He was poised to be the Marty Jannetty of the Miz and Morrison team.
Oh, yeah.
And dare we say the Miz has overshadowed Morrison.
By and large, he's done that.
Yeah.
I will definitely agree with that. Without a doubt, he's definitely surpassed Morrison on any level you can quantify. There's not even a glimmer of doubt in my mind when I say that.
Main event at WrestleMania against the indestructible John Cena and won.
Right.
Granted, with assistance, there's definitely an asterisk next to his name there because Rocky had to get involved.
Yep.
But he did what people weren't doing at the time in defeating John Cena.
Right. Yeah,
There's a lot to
happened.
be stated there. And for someone like AJ who's traveled the globe, competed in TNA, now Impact Wrestling, competed in New Japan, Ring of Honor, to come into WWE and after 6 years in the company, let's think about that for a minute. AJ Styles has been WWE for 6 years now.
Damn, 6.5 now, which is even crazier.
Can you really think of anybody else that does it at the same level?
No.
MJF, I will give you as a solid heel. And granted, I haven't been following AEW since day one like you.
Right.
I definitely see where you're coming from with MJF, but I don't think he's been at that level near as long. He's getting there, though. Another 5 years, maybe you can talk.
Right.
Personal opinion.
Well, I mean, the thing with MJF is it has been 5 years, believe it or not, since All In 2018. I think it's been 5 years.
Almost. We're coming up on 4.
That's crazy. A lot of times flown by. Okay. I would say for WWE standards, yes. But if we're talking all of pro wrestling, no. Because I've seen about 5 better heels in my time, including but not limited to Tommaso Ciampa. So if we're going by best heel in WWE, Tommaso Ciampa beat him, and then in AEW, MJF beat him.
There's 2 things to keep in mind right now. Number 1, he's talking right now, which Ciampa's kind of just there. He's not really doing anything major on TV right now.
Babyface or heel, yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, nobody within WWE is going to say anybody but WWE. Even AJ Styles, who was anything but WWE for 16 years. So, there is that to consider. I'm not saying he's right to toe that line, but let's be real, even AJ Styles will toe the WWE line if he's asked, and he has been asked apparently, because for my money, you're right. There is no better heel in wrestling right now than MJF, regardless of what happened tonight, whether it was a work, shoot, whatever you want to call it, because people were invested in that match, invested in his battle with Wardlow to see him get completely annihilated. And the fact that he pulled what he pulled this weekend, whether he worked this or not, made people even more ravenous to see him get his ass handed to. Completely and thoroughly. He is the Shivani calls him the lowest form of life on the regular. And this is Tony Schiavone, who's not exactly, a above board gentleman all the time either. All right. Tony's been accused more than once of being, a glory hog and a freaking Kobe Bryant level show stealer from his own commentating team. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If Tony thinks you're a piece of shit, you're probably a piece of shit. So just throwing that out there. And again, MJF being MJF, and the fact that he is one of the few people in wrestling, period, and I mean period, not just WWE, AEW, that never, ever, ever, ever breaks character on social media, breaks character with fans, and I'm talking little kids. There are 2 people I know in wrestling that do that, MJF and Abaddon. And even Abaddon and all her amazing psychotic presentation still sang karaoke on the Jericho cruise. So there is that. MJF, I don't think would have even done that. So
yeah. And Miz is, and let's be honest, the one thing that MJF has over Miz and will have is MJF acts like a dick so much that now, even more so than ever, you can't tell if it's a shoot or work now.
Right?
Miz, behind the scenes, we know he's a fucking nice guy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, he's the sweetest dude in the history of the planet. Like,
yeah. Jay and I have known Mike for so long. It's just, like we see him out there now, especially having Maurice and the 2 kids. We go, Mike, shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna shut up. He's stupid.
Yeah.
Whereas before,
yeah.
before when he was doing the Miz stuff, when he was being arena host guy, when he was doing the shtick, you could believe he was dick because he was bitter, because he was determined to prove he could be more than. So he was just resolved and hunkered into his. You know what? If being a dick's going to get me where I need to go, screw it. I'm gonna be a dick. Whereas now he doesn't have to because he can go off and, film Ms. and Mrs. for, a couple of months. He can go and make a movie and come back and the people still want him back, whether he's a babyface, heel, or a tweener. MJF, like I said, there are good people. I've talked to people in that arena that were at that show tonight that were there. A good chunk of them, yes, of course, we're to see CM Punk and at Hangman Page, but a lot of them were looking forward to MJF getting obliterated by Wardlow. And if that's what they were there for, they got their money's worth because it was a squash bucket, is what that was. So,
which, man, I don't know where MJF stands in the industry right now.
And that's the thing. They stretched him out, so it's definitely a write-off. The question is, are they writing him off to really put Wardlow over like Rover? Are they writing him off so the contract talks can go through? Or is it both?
Or
that's
is
the
it
question.
Or is it that JJ's theory where MJF Jeff Jarretted AEW and Which by the way, I said this on Twitter already, so I might as well just read this out in case either one are fucking cool, because the fact that this happened in the fucking morning just pissed me off anyway. Right. So I'm just gonna read this tweet because it's the truth.
Oh yeah.
Number one. Thanks, social media. The shitty technology managed to almost ruin. Because I had the parentheses almost, because I actually did have a really good time tonight. Almost managed to ruin what I was looking forward to for months, which was AEW Double or Nothing. Now I'm expecting disastrous ramifications for the wrestling business going forward. God, I hate even having to worry about this. At Tony Khan, pay MJF. At MJF, do business the right way and be there. And both of you, the MJF and Tony Khan, if this is a work, what the fuck were you thinking? You're giving your fans an unnecessary anxiety attack they didn't need for an event they were originally looking forward to. This sucks. You're both being childish. Work it out like adults. I don't care if you block me over this and call me a mark. If it means you two work out your bullshit, then whatever. But if this is a work, dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
JJ, I mentioned at the top, even if they are trying to pull work a Pillman-like angle, it's not 1996 anymore, y'all. It really isn't. JJ.
And unfortunately, I don't get that reference because I wasn't watching then.
Okay, so obnoxiously long, knowing me, story short, Pillman was in WCW. He was a horseman. He was working an angle with Kevin Sullivan. I respect you, Booker, man. The thing happens at Super Brawl. So he goes, James, let me take a breath. I promise I'll get this whole story out. I promise. Okay. He goes to ECW with Bischoff's blessing, so much so that Pillman convinces Bischoff to give him a legitimate release so he can really sell like he's really left the company. He then goes and signs the very first guaranteed WWF contract in 96 after Vince was not doing guaranteed contracts because of the whole outsiders defecting thing. So Pillman completely worked everybody, including his own boss, into letting him go for real. The rumor and innuendo from Northern California, people that, do this for a living up in Northern California, was saying that they were working a Pillman angle. And it's like, no, because it's not like 1996 where we don't know what's going to happen either way. And like I said, if that's the case, people paid $100 to meet Max yesterday and they didn't get it.
Right.
So Max no-showed. Sting was pulled from an injury, whether it's a work or a shoot based on the angle they shot with Kyle O'Reilly, and Samoa Joe's meet and greet was miscommunicated and botched. So they worked themselves into a shoot, and they worked themselves into turning the fans off way further than they expected. in my opinion. JJ, what say you, sir?
I hear where you're coming from on that. I think the show got those fans back.
This show did, right.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
but from my perspective, and again, this is my perspective because I'm here not at T-Mobile Arena. I paid $100 to see this guy, and I didn't actually meet him. I know if I'm MJF, I'm going to get a middle finger. I'm going to get some sort of MJF interaction. Not, hey Max, how are you, brother?
But that's what they wanted.
Right, but that's what they want. But what I'm saying is they didn't get that up close. All they saw was from their seat Wardlow pulverizing this guy. So I understand what you're saying, JJ, about the fans got the AEW got the fans back, but the people that trust me, you guys have heard me all month talking about how much I've spent to go to Disneyland a week from tomorrow and how much I'm going to be paying that back. It feels like the rest of my damn life. $100 is a lot of money for anything right now in this economy. So for a meet and greet and then a no-show for an angle, if it turns out that way, I would be pissed. My wallet would be smacking Tony outside the face right now.
Yeah.
What I was gonna add is that I'm sure Tony will have to examine the situation further the next time something like this happens.
Right.
The Joe thing was miscommunication.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Sting thing was badly planned.
Yep.
But you couldn't have called the MJF thing. So at the end of the day, that's the only one that there's really fault on any side about. Because the Sting one was probably advertised and then they probably decided to do something. Maybe Steve didn't want to travel.
Right.
To do the appearance.
Which, you know what? Maybe there is a legitimate injury that he got beforehand.
Which is why I would give Steve Sting a pass.
It's like you got to figure how old he is. Maybe he just didn't want to make the trip to Vegas. He's got his own demons that he fought many years ago and overcame. Maybe going back to a place like Sin City could be kind of triggering for him.
That's honest to God, that's fair.
I don't want to be put in that situation. So they worked the injury angle so they could pull him from the thing.
Which I'm okay with. And also you have to remember he's not coming from California anymore. He actually lives in Texas now. So that's a lot farther trip than 4 hours up to 15. So
that, and I also, to add to your point, JJ, Samoa Joe with the whole miscommunication thing. Miscommunication happens all the time.
That shit happens. Yeah,
especially in this business.
Yes.
I mean, that was bound to happen. I'm surprised it hadn't happened a lot sooner for AEW. But with that said, and this is why I blame both parties in my initial tweet, there is no fucking reason why for weeks, months now, there should be any miscommunication on where MJF's current standing in the company should fucking
do. Dance away. All right, sorry about that.
Completely agree with you on that. I mean, before the angle got really rolling, there should have been are you committed to this?
Right.
Especially with Tony being...
Thank you for coming back. You haven't missed much.
Question 1. You're good to go, brother.
Stay tuned, folks. The Daily Slam will be doing our recap review some point later today. Happy Memorial Day to all my friends here on the East Coast. It is Monday. And also, thank you for those that served. God bless you who didn't make it. Your sacrifice will never be in vain. We honor, respect, and treasure you. God bless America, and God bless all of you.
Hold on one second, Noah. Hold on one second, Noah.
At some point Monday evening. What's up, James?
Hold on. JJ was speaking.
Go ahead, JJ.
I was just welcoming him back, letting him know what he missed if he wanted to interject on. We started off the thing talking about the statement that AJ Styles made about how The Miz is the best heel in pro wrestling right now.
Oh, that thing.
From there,
yes,
both the panelists on the other side, both James and Jeff, started talking about MJF, and we spiraled into the whole no-show. Was he leaving? Is it a work? Is it a shoot thing? So if you want to touch briefly on what you think about AJ Styles' statement, and then where you stand on what happened earlier with the MJF situation.
As far as AJ Styles' statement is concerned, when it comes to longevity in the modern era, Miz is definitely a prominent heel in the world of sports entertainment. He's the Hollywood bigwig that every common person hates. But I think about heels in the wrestling industry, I give that catalyst to Switchblade Jay White. While some people can't stand him and others follow him, he is the leader of Bullet Club, and through heelish shenanigans and great ring psychology, he has led this group to the promised land and Providence championship gold across the board. So particularly for me, I say currently going today, is Switchblade Jay White, all times Ric Flair. But as far as WWE goes, Miz might be one of the most genuine, longest, respectable heels in the WWE brand's history. Now, as far as the angle tonight, you saw the dismay on MJF's face. Whether or not he was there just for one last paycheck.
You good? You good,
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay, you didn't knock your noggin again, did you?
I'm having a rough week with my equipment, but I'm okay for this one.
Okay, good. Continue.
Christ almighty.
Situated.
Son of a bitch.
Whether or not you realize that everything in wrestling is work or not, or it is a work, bottom line, he told about the bidding war 2024. I don't think Tony Khan's going to leave him out of his contract. If anything else, MJF has been one of those constant characters, not necessarily in-ring workers, in AEW these last 3 years. If you're going to redefine a character and a pro wrestler, you got to give them time off. So what do? You write them off. It was inevitable that Wardlow was going to get the victory here and that there was going to be a bigger, longer-term story ahead for Maxwell Jacob Freeman MJF, who's been there since day one, particularly part of the AEW championship picture with the title being revealed. So for me, it worked as far as a write-off. So whether or not it was all kayfabe or work, I think that this was the best way to keep MJF away, but not to be forgotten.
Right, exactly.
Fair. Do you feel like Tony and the AEW brass kind of need to regain the fans' faith by having him no-show the meet and greet thing, having Steen get pulled because of the injury angle, and having the miscommunication with Joe where he didn't show up? That's 3 high-caliber talents that, for one reason or another, didn't show your biggest fan interaction ever.
As far as 2 of them, I definitely agree because Samoa Joe, he's a respectable man that we all appreciate in the world of pro wrestling. I know sometimes things just don't work out and there's miscommunications and business mess-ups. Sting, on the other hand, whether or not they're really trying to push this angle thing as legitimate or it's a work, yes, they owe that to the fans because if you were a lapsed professional wrestling fan, but you know the name WCW, you honor, respect Sting. This was your moment to meet him. I can only imagine how long that line was. As far as MJF, though, he's that guy that I feel still appreciates the fact that fans react to him. So I do think that is old back. So whether or not that is a Sheldon Bob with MJF on the screen, giving everybody the double bird that takes a picture with him in some sort of fan line with a Burberry scarf on like a coat hanger, or even the Chairman just comes into play here and stands along his side of a broken MJF who can't stand anybody but wants our money. Tony Khan does at least owe those 3 things to the fans, definitely at the next AEW pay-per-view in some way or form to restore good faith for those that follow the brand, particularly for those 3, if nothing else. Tony Khan owes the fans something as far as an interaction goes with at least those people because people are fans of those individuals. And they look forward to not only seeing them, engage with them in a brief moment, and having a memorable picture.
Well said, sir. Well said. I love it.
Absolutely.
And JJ, I want to thank you before we move on to the next topic for wearing the actual Jeff Meacham Network shirt that goes along with the theme of the week, since I'm going back to the forum for the first time since the Kings wore that logo and those colors. So I love you for that. I can't find mine. I think it's in the wash. God help me. Lord knows where the hell that friggin' thing is. And I also realize you're only wearing it because you're Blackpool. What the hell's the middle word?
Combat Club.
Combat Club. Thank you. Could not. Ironically, it's in Vegas. Unlike you, and for the show, the shirt itself's up there. But
it's like, you know what, Tony? I've got people in Vegas. Can you just give it to them? They'll bring it to me quicker than I'll get it in the mail.
At this point,
Tuesday at the earliest.
Right?
Yeah. At this point, I'm just waiting to hear everything that's going to come out of the media scrum when it comes to the events tonight. Because good Lord Almighty, did we not change the future of AEW to some degree? I think so.
Say so. And like I said, I was looking forward to this show enough. Now I'm like, Fucking TikTok. Let's go. These next 2 days need to fly by faster than Maverick. God damn it. Anyway. If you know, you know. If you don't know, look at PWG. You'll thank me later. Top Gun Tall Work. That's all I got to say.
Fair enough.
What was the next? Okay, so the topic, speaking of Las Vegas, we'll go ahead and go to the next topic here.
Oh. How do I still have a voice is another question.
Yeah. Yes. WWE. I'm trying to laugh, but I find it so funny. So I've been ha-haing for weeks now. The fact that there were still tickets for Money in the Bank as of this last weekend available for $25 up in the cheap seats of the end zone at Allegiant Stadium.
Yes.
Well, that's not going to happen now because they've officially moved Money in the Bank to the MGM Grand, not T-Mobile, by the way, because T-Mobile is going to have the UFC there on July 2nd. But the tickets are now going to be reissued, resold, or re-put on sale, or put back on sale if we're going to use proper grammar. June 1st, ironically, Wednesday, when AEW is at the Great Western, the Fabulous Forum. Kia Form. Fabulous Form. We're going Fabulous Form. Stupid sponsor crap. But yeah, WWE not only had to pull out of the football stadium, they're going to, I love the MGM. JJ and I have been at the MGM more than once for stuff. But it is definitely not the A arena in that particular part of the town anymore.
Yeah, no. I've never been inside it. I've only sat outside of it and filmed that retrospective that we did with me, you, and Ray.
Okay, so you've been. Oh wait, no.
How fitting.
Were you not? Oh no, because you and I walked. Oh no, wait, was that Aaron? Didn't we walk up to the doors of the arena, just not into the arena itself? And yes, you have been. Weren't you at Frozen Fury when it was still there?
Oh yeah, I forgot. No. Wait.
Which Frozen Fury did you go to?
It might have been there.
If you're Frozen Fury 2013, which I think you were at MGM with me.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, MGM's a great arena.
I was actually there.
They had Halloween Havoc there a couple times, including the dreaded 1998 show, which we don't talk about. It's much worse than Bruno. We don't talk about that shit on this show ever again.
Ever.
Fuck me. I love Hulk, but oh my God, Terry, stop. No, bad. Anyway, but yeah, it's definitely not the T-Mobile Arena.
No.
It's not even like some of the other, where AEW was last week, Mandalay Bay and all that. It's not even up to that caliber. And WWE's having to go there because UFC is going to be at T-Mobile on July 2nd. Noah, I'll start with you since you came back, late here, and we'll bring you in. We'll throw you right into the fat of the fire here. WWE's running basically the C venue in one of their biggest cities. Where are you at on that, man? That's blowing my mind.
I just think it comes down to an audible at this point. It wasn't like they could move it to another city, it seems. They wanted to book it in Las Vegas because at this point you're taking a gamble to see who gets the Money in the Bank. But then it also makes me wonder how much value they see maybe in that Money in the Bank, trying to redefine what's currently represented at this point. Not really a cash-in, but maybe your opportunity at WrestleMania. It's almost like Money in the Bank's becoming a filler show in its own right, where, again, we talked about before, at this point, Money in the Bank should just be freaking back on WrestleMania as a main high-stakes caliber match for both the men and the women on each respectable night. I just really feel like this is fair at this point because WWE knows that no matter what, they could sell to a degree, so they'll still turn a profit, but I think they just could care less.
Well, the fact was they weren't, like I said, they weren't selling out the stadium. They got close at SummerSlam, but at SummerSlam, it's not,
Yeah, you got to think about name value. Think about the moments that have happened at SummerSlam. Think about how long Money in the Bank truly has been around versus SummerSlam.
And think about how
it's not that big.
Think about how stacked SummerSlam was last year. You had Roman and Cena, and it was rumored a little bit that Becky was there. No rumor about Brock whatsoever. Like, holy shit, that came out of nowhere.
That was a moment for you, I'm sure. Good grief almighty.
A little bit of a moment for me, but we'll go into my psychotherapy later. You had Edge and Rollins with the Brood Engine. There was so much good stuff in anticipation of that show, and I'm not trying to downplay the importance of Money in the Bank. JJ, you were at the very first Money in the Bank match, WrestleMania 21. You know how important Money in the Bank has become in the last 17 years. I mean, Edge becoming the rated R superstar, the ultimate opportunist. You talk about RVD finally getting the world championship. You talk about Mr. Kennedy and what could have been. You talk about the rise of CM Punk. You talk about all these people that have been Mr. or Miss Money in the Bank. I love what Noah just said here. You've got 2 nights of WrestleMania now. You seem to have done away with the battle royals on each night. Men and women, reinstate the Money in the Bank. One on one night, one on the other night. Am I off base there, Jay? Or
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's hilarious that one of the last open mic nights we did, you called this like one of the big five.
Well, it's supposed to be.
And now look at where it is.
Yeah.
Filler.
I have to wonder though, we all joke all the time about how the old man is losing it. Okay. We've dropped this word numerous times, mostly thanks to James over the course of this broadcast, but who in their fucking right mind books a pay-per-view in Vegas during International Fight Week?
Vince McMahon.
Vince would have been a lot smarter to have done a repeat and book SummerSlam in Vegas. To bookend the month, you have International Fight Week start off with UFC in the beginning of the month, then have sports entertainment invade the city at the end of the month, and then move Money in the Bank to Tennessee, where SummerSlam is supposed to be.
I'll go you one better. If you want to have a sellout in Vegas, sell for Money in the Bank, put that on July 30th. I don't know, have SummerSlam in August, like it's been every other damn month for the last 35 years.
Agreed.
But what's tradition anymore in WWE? Just saying. Continue, JJ.
Agreed, but why in God's name are you going to try and to run opposite UFC?
Now,
you don't want to piss Uncle Dana off.
I was going to say, one thing Vince has never been afraid of is competition from the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He's never been afraid of that. He encourages it, and which is why he allowed Brock to cross it, which is why he, courted Ronda Rousey, him and his team courted Ronda Rousey, so heavily. The fact of the matter is, he was convinced, and we saw it at SummerSlam last year because Pacquiao was down the street at T-Mobile from us. They can run this same day, and they were going to stagger the times where it was going to be doable. The fact of the matter is, as much as I wanted to believe that WWE, as much as WWE wanted to believe that WWE could turn Money in the Bank into a Big Five, it is not. The only thing Big Five about it is the sporting goods store selling out from the fact of trying to buy knee pads and braces for walking around Vegas all friggin' day.
There's a big difference between Pacquiao, and I'm not a boxing fan by any means, but Pacquiao is not the Pacquiao of old anymore.
No.
And UFC running in their home base.
Very true, very true. And I'm not going to argue with that at all because you're absolutely right. Even the Pacquiao fight, even in 2021 was like, okay, I if it wasn't so ungodly Vegas boxing fans, I probably would have walked down the street and caught the fight. I really would have. But it was just going to be too much. UFC is UFC, so
you run at the end of the month and you don't have to worry about the T-Mobile Arena.
Yep. And that's the other thing. Parking for that stadium, and James, I know we're kind of not letting you talk yet. I'm sorry, but I just everything's kind of in my mind here.
I'm fine.
So parking for that stadium is so ungodly bad. Dad and I parked at Mandalay, which again was where AEW was the other night for their TV tapings, and you can park there, and there's like a shuttle to the stadium. The parking on side of the stadium is non-existent, so people are parking at Mandalay, they're parking at T-Mobile, they're parking at the places nearby. I can't even fathom the parking nightmare. I can imagine my poor mother being in traffic as it is out here in LA. I can imagine the hives on her poor little body with all them freaking people in that phenomenal cosmic fandom. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Like, no way. Like, there's a reason
that's a bold statement.
There's a reason I walked from the Mandalay parking to meet up with my friend on the strip in front of, I believe we were in front of New York. I was not going to get into a cab. I was not going to get into an Uber. There was no way I was dealing with that shit. So I can't even.
That's where I'm coming from on it. And James, I got to give you a little bit of crap. I gave Jeff crap earlier. I love how you went on to the NoDQ review after me posting this in the group chat, letting everyone know about it, and you thought that it was a rib, until you heard it from Aaron Rift himself.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy it from me when I give you the information. No. But let Aaron Rift say it, man. All of a sudden, it's the gospel.
In fairness, I was just kind of playing along to make Aaron feel special. No,
Heart. We all love Aaron. No, for real though, we love Aaron, and I can't wait for JJ to be on the review for the record. I can't wait for that shit to be a thing.
I can't wait to watch that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Anyway, continue.
I will interject with.
I
hate to say
here.
I told you so, but I fucking told you so. I told you that this was not going to sell out, and I was fucking right on the money.
Yeah, and there's another F-bomb, folks.
Sorry. I'm trying.
That's
It's also very late, so at this point.
Demonetized.
Keep it.
Well, no, it's just limited for now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, limited for now.
They're reviewing it for the record.
People.
YouTube, we are safe. Anyway, continue.
If the WWE can barely sell out arenas as it stands right now.
Right.
And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What in the right mind made you think they were going to be able to sell out Allegiant Stadium? Any stadium with Money in the Bank.
They did come close. I mean, again, it wasn't money. It was a big four, but the seats they made available for SummerSlam, they did sell out, and I think they just got too much cock in their step, and they were all full of themselves.
Let's
call spades a spades.
This is going to be a bizarre comment, but I almost kind of would have liked to have seen them run Caesar's Palace. Go back to the WrestleMania 9 venue.
I think they would consider that if they hadn't converted that whole area to what is now the actual Coliseum. Who the hell's there now?
I have
It was Celine Dion. I know Elton was there for a while. Shania was there for a minute. I forget who's there now, but yeah, whatever it is, that entire area where, ironically enough, the first people back there were the Kings. Before there was a Frozen Fury, the Kings and the Rangers had a game back there. So there is that. That whole area is no longer an outdoor arena compliant area. They've actually built a stadium over there. So they could run Caesars. They could run the Coliseum itself, but it's not really arena setup. It's more of a concert venue. But T-Mobile, had they not booked any friggin' July weekend except the second, you blithering idiots. As of right now, there's nothing booked on my channel anyway the entire rest of the month, weekend-wise, until SummerSlam. I don't know when Impact's going to run their show, if they run a monthly special, because it won't be a pay-per-view because they'll have Slammiversary in June. AEW's not running July as far as I know because they've got Forbidden Door.
Lord.
So, right? So the only thing set in stone on weekends in July is Money in the Bank coverage, wherever the hell they managed to throw that on the damn corner of Vegas at this point. SummerSlam, the end of the month. And my anniversary to Talk Wrestling is July 16th, the middle of the month. So there are 2 other Saturdays every single Sunday of the month. And then again, SummerSlam could have very easily been August. And they could have had Money in the Bank any other point in July. Like I said, I think it just got too big for their own britches. And ended up getting them with a poopy diaper.
Again, with how much money the WWE is putting into themselves, it's almost like they feel they can get away with anything. So as far as they're concerned, this is probably just a small experiment that will be like a penny in the bucket for them that they'll just rebound. Because
we talked about this for years. James, you look like you're about to burst.
Yeah, so I have to get this out real quick because I have a counterpoint to all your points anyway. But I have to stop the presses right now. Okay? Quote me on this. Drunk Tony Khan's the best Tony Khan. He is plastered out his fucking mind. He's out scored right now. Yes, I am seeing him on the post scrum right now.
Good for you, Tony. Shit.
Why not, man? Celebrate. You gave us one hell of a pay-per-view. You are living out the life that we wish we could live to. I wished I was there tonight at AEW. He deserves it. I'm not gonna lie. Great pay-per-view. He deserves it.
Hold on. I have to put this out there. I agree with everything you said, but I'm gonna put the comical scene in perspective right now.
Oh, please do.
Everybody is pointing out how cockeyed Tony is, how drunk he is, how excited he is, He's already coked out of his mind, and now he's acting drunk on top of that. And CM Punk is next to him with the world title, with the world championship. And Punk does it. Punk is both baffled and happy and also confused. This is
I wonder
the
why.
funniest thing I've seen on any post-scrum ever.
So to put this in perspective for you 80s babies, this would be like Hulk Hogan being, or not Hogan, because he actually would be coked out with Vince.
Cheeky baby.
No. Sheiky's permanently coked out. Let's not even front.
I could get Sheik tweets right now.
This would be like, God damn it, who's a sober WWE champion before Punk? In the 80s. Yeah, none. Anyway.
Zero.
Okay.
Zero.
This would be like Bob Backlund.
Approximately goose egg.
It's zero. They humbled him all with the butt fuck. Anyway, so this is like, I don't know what just happened. This would be like Bob. Okay, here we go.
This show gone butt fucky forever.
JJ, rein it in for me. Rein it in, brother. Rein it in for me.
I'm going to walk out of this room in a moment, I swear.
Sit your ass down. I got it back. I figured it out in my head. I got it.
We don't need you to do the dad's walk off again.
This would be like Bob Backlund walking into a presser at Madison Square Garden in the 70s with Vince Sr. completely coked and drunk out of his mind.
That would be me wearing all black, deciding to no longer be shred edge and decide to get a drink just because I'm out in Vegas.
There you go.
It is.
Just remember, Noah, you're coming to LA. We will corrupt you. We will. No, man.
It is.
No, you won't. No, you won't. I will not fall to darkness like the Empress Julia Hart, and I stand by that statement.
Poor Julia Hart.
Real quick. So yes, best thing I've seen all for any post scrum. Back to my original point, which was to counteract all your points on they got too greedy. I'm gonna put this in perspective. Despite what they did for Mania, and despite what they did for SummerSlam the year prior, I do have to point out neither event sold out.
Yep.
That wouldn't have been a problem even 2 years ago. It's a problem now, and it's going to continue to be a problem. I've been calling this for years now. If you don't build future stars, you're not going to get the fans to the shows, and it's slowly but surely starting to happen. It is.
I can agree with that.
It's starting to happen. And as we said before as well, I don't think Vince gives a shit.
No.
Right.
You already established that.
Yeah, so because Vince is out of his damn gourd at this point, so whatever.
Everything is business. Everything is business. Everything. The answer, business. Business.
But you know what? No, we talk about this on either a review or one of our open mic night discussions. There's so much revenue coming into the company in general. Do they have to give a shit? At the time, I said no. But they're not selling out a major, even though Money in the Bank is still not one of the 4 big ones, it's still a major show for them every year. And they couldn't even generate enough to match what they touched at SummerSlam to the degree that they're having to move. Yeah. So, yeah, there is success. Yes, there's revenue being generated. And no, they don't have to give a shit on that front. But part of revenue is ticket sales. And they're now going toward an event that if they don't sell at the MGM Grand, there might be a freaking blood vessel in somebody's brain popped. A major aneurysm approaching.
And guess what? If they don't sell out if they don't sell out by 1, we got a problem.
You're saying we have a problem.
Have a problem.
We do. We really do.
And you know what? And I'll say this right now. No disrespect to anybody that's there currently right now, workers wise, because I feel bad for them because they don't have the choice. They were just trying to make this place better, and they get fucking stopped at every turn.
Oh, here we go.
I was literally talking about it right now in the post media scrum. It's been happening for years. It will continue to happen for years. Don't believe me? Ask Paul London. He shot with Rene Dupree in about 2005. It's happening then too. So
it's a fair point. I mean, not gonna lie, it's a fair point.
The bottom line is this: if WWE goes under, they've got nobody. The higher ups have nobody but themselves to blame.
I
Not
don't
a
think
single person but themselves to blame.
We already said that WWE's not too big to fail, but again, that's still a big what if and when it could happen. They will sell before that.
Okay, JJ, go ahead, please.
I don't think they're in danger of going under just yet.
Agree.
But I think they're starting to get to that cusp just before WCW took over for 83 weeks. I think they're starting to get to just about that cusp with AEW. Because like James said a couple years ago, when there wasn't any real competition, this wouldn't have been an issue.
Yep. Right, exactly.
But AEW is getting more and more steam, and whether we want to crap on them or not for signing away every WWE cast-off and expanding their roster like they have, which was another topic we were going to discuss. So we can just kind of segue into that from here. But whether we want to chastise them or not, the fact that WWE is letting all of this talent go and they're going to AEW with a chip on their shoulder, with something to prove. I know you're not a sports guy, but it's the same shit that happened with the Golden Knights a couple years ago. Golden Knights came into existence in the NHL. They got to pick one person from every current NHL team that the team didn't feel was valued enough to protect.
Interesting.
So the Golden Knights grabbed this player from this team, this player from this team, one player per team. Those guys then entered into becoming their own family unit as a team with a chip on their shoulder because they were the cast-offs, the rejects. They got to the Stanley Cup final.
First year.
They did not win, but the fact that 30 guys that, except for maybe exhibition games or Olympics, had never played together before, could come together and get to the finals of the big championship in the sport said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what's going on right now with AEW. You've got
it's like a statement.
You've got Ruby Soho, Tony Storm. You've got Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. You've got Keith Lee. You've got Adam Cole, baby. You've got Red Dragon. You've got all these guys that have been cut and released, and now they've got something to prove to Vince.
You get Eddie Kingston, who's been sorry.
I was saying they're helping to better the company as a result. You look at guys like Cody and Jericho, who were some of the founding fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Granted, Cody went back home, and nobody's going to really begrudge him that. But there was that chip on his shoulder.
Right.
Exactly.
But Jay, he did what he said he was going to do. He was going to go and prove himself worthy enough of coming home and getting the main event opportunity. He's gonna, for better or for worse, for this red crate of hate next Sunday, he's main eventing the show. He's inside the cage with Rollins, and I'll be damned if he's not going to be WWE champion by the end of this year. WrestleMania at worst.
I want to point this out real quick. Right?
Go for it, bro.
You mentioned the rise of AEW, and you mentioned the tides of WCW, basically, right?
Yes.
Right.
And your team and all the players getting traded off and being shit.
Yes.
So, with all that said, we already talked about the Nielsen ratings of Crockett shit. We don't know AEW's actual ratings every week. We've already established that, and it's already a fact.
Yes.
Fight me on that. That's number one.
Bite me, whatever.
Number
to
two,
do whatever you wish. I will not waver.
WWE can't even sell out WrestleMania or SummerSlam, and I'm almost positive that could be the case again this year for SummerSlam. So that's a problem already. Okay, and we don't even know what the hell Money in the Bank is going to be like now that they had the downgrade to the MGM Grand, which, by the way, so much for Big Five. Now you also have these issues. All these issues are piling up, and then you forget the real world aspect. Inflation's a mucker futter.
Whatever.
I did the thing. And the stock could crash at any goddamn moment.
Capri's coming. The Dow Jones went down 400 points one day. Just to put that in perspective of what James saying. He's speaking facts.
This economy itself is a mucker for the right now, let alone the WWE stock. Jesus.
So add all of those factors up, and these networks are going to look at what they're paying the WWE and realize how terrible of an investment it is compared to everything else that they need to invest in. With a bad economy, and USA and Fox could easily pull the plug.
Oh yeah.
By the way, my voice is going as my voice is going, so I'm going to lean into the mic real quick. But Fox has already been talking behind the scenes, and I know this for a fact because I have people in the know on that. They're already wanting to back out of the WWE deal. They hate that they're still in it.
But James, the money's so good, damn it.
It's so good now until it's not, and it dries up. You relied on this is what I meant by Vince relying on a safe cushion, because that's all he's known his entire life, because he was fighting all his life and he wanted to relax, and he took his eye off the ball and said screw it to everything else, because he didn't try his damnedest on everything like Tony Khan is doing right now with AEW. That company is going to fucking suffer.
I mean, haven't they already been suffering? Are you just saying that more pains to come?
Oh
yeah.
Dude,
it's going to get way worse than folks.
It's going to get any better.
A different perspective, folks. Just saying. There's more that meets the eye than the dollar sign. Just saying.
It's definitely going to get worse before it gets better.
Right?
Ding.
And the TV.
That's not a crapshoot. That is just a fact of life.
Dude, the two network deals and the Saudi deal, the country redacted deal.
Redacted.
Only prolonged the WCW track. Okay? That's all it did. It, instead of 1 year of going out of business, they lasted 10. Good for you. You're still going out of business if you keep this dumb bullshit up. So
I tend to think that, like Jeff said a little bit earlier, I think they will sell before they go out of business.
Yeah, they'll sell to a person that freaking they'll sell damaged goods to the point where they can't even run it. Which, by the way,
Elon Musk.
Okay. Guys, let JJ make his point. I'm begging you.
Go ahead, JJ. Sorry.
I was done with my point at that. I was just reiterating your statement. You know, I have a feeling that they're going to sell before they go under. Vince is too smart to let the company go under.
Right.
You know, whether somebody like Disney or Universal or Warner Brothers or whoever he's going to sell it to, more than likely Disney, because Disney Plus is carrying the network in certain areas already.
Yes.
For me,
you know, Disney doesn't know how to run pro wrestling.
Well, no. They can broadcast it.
They can make a Phineas and Ferb special out of it.
Oh, stop it.
Can I just add?
Yes.
Even if they did, okay, by the time Vince sells that company, it is going to be such damaged goods that no matter what anybody does, it's already going to be 10 years too late.
Possibly.
I mean, you know the old saying, James, never say never. And if man can redefine the wheel more than one time, I'm sure somebody can find a way to redefine that brand.
Hey, listen,
better or for worse.
I hope you're right, but but in WCW they tried to redefine the wheel and it just bankrupted them more. So
okay. I'm gonna cut you off right there because I said this on the review the other day, so I'll go ahead and say it here now. We need to keep things in perspective here when it comes to WCW back in 1998, 99, and 2000 versus AEW now and WWE back then versus WWE now. It's WWF. I'm just trying to keep the pace moving here.
I know.
WCW never had a booker, EVP, boss, whatever, that was able to play the game with his own roster and a complete blank slate.
That is
right.
Bischoff came in with a giant pooper scooper behind Jim Herd, Kip Fry, Bill Watts, all these guys before him, and managed to turn a giant pile of chicken shit into some goddamn tasty chicken salad for at least 83 weeks. Even longer if you really think about how good Nitro was, even before Scott Hall showed up. And even after the NWO started to fade, it was still watchable. Now, when Turner, and also keep this in mind also, Turner, it's been documented by not just Eric Bischoff, not just Vince Russo, not just these people that are held in contempt by the IWC / Dave Meltzer / whoever.
Oh, Lord.
Turner was never 100% behind keeping WCW going.
Never.
To the point of they only kept it around because Ted was still in charge. The minute, and I mean, it had to have been one of the first things Levin and them guys did when the merger went into effect. Like, hey, how soon can we offload this crap? And it took them 6 years to do it. The entire run of Nitro. And they were still cooking with gas at the point they were trying to unload it already. So there is that. Russo came in after the brass at Turner just got impatient with Eric trying to do any damn thing to right the wrong, to right the rudder of the ship and to keep from hitting the iceberg. The problem is they put Russo in charge, and rather than let him steer away from the iceberg, they put a big giant roadblock in the opposite direction where he couldn't turn the damn ship around. You're filtered now. The hell? I'm over on USA freaking full of people that don't care if I'm filtered or not, even though Barry Diller was one of the most filtered people in the history of the world.
All right.
And I can't do what I was able to do there?
What made you successful over there?
Yeah, to the point where you guys hired me because you think I was able to do all these things over there, but you're not letting me do what you hired me to do.
Which is fair, yeah.
So, before we, WCW, they couldn't, no. WCW was doing all the things they were able to do based on the ginormous, even stronger than what was allegedly holding Wardlow back, shackles. AEW, clean slate. Yes, they are hiring people from WWE, and again, right. JJ used the evil C word, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there. Castaways. The thing is, these people are leaving WWE, like JJ said, with a chip on their shoulder because they were in the big company, the most successful wrestling company in the history of the planet, and they couldn't even get a freaking itch on a scratch of a push or a TV time. The other thing we're considering is this. And since JJ said it, we're going to go ahead and transition here. There are, as of right now, main roster-wise, 5 hours of first-run WWE programming on between USA and Fox every single week, 52 weeks a year. Because there's no more dog show preempting Raw. There's no more whatever the hell UPN was trying to bullshit to preempt SmackDown. Fox has them in place, 5-year contract, $2 billion in WWE's pocket for that. USA has them in place, 8 o'clock every Monday night, flat out.
Yep.
The brand extension is kind of becoming what it's becoming right now. They're kind of going away from it again.
Yep.
And there are still so many people under contract to that company that we don't even know work for the company because they're not being utilized properly, which in 5 hours of first run television programming is ridiculous. I the greatest example, JJ will back me up on this because we talked about it. Harry Smith was under contract for so long. We didn't know he was back in the company, and he was already released before he even got a freaking millisecond of television time again. Again.
Keyword again.
They bring him back. They don't even use him. The shit.
Like, oh, boss, see ya.
Despite the fact that his brother or his cousin-in-law, once removed off that crazy-ass family tree over there in England and Calgary, is a producer, and his other cousin is one of the most successful women in the history of the company. By the way, happy belated birthday on camera, Natty. We love you, girl.
Respect.
Multi-time Guinness Book of World Records
yes,
holder.
lest we forget.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to mention that on my post the other day, which I regretted immediately. Anyway, so, but again, AEW's talent is just inflated. You're right. There are so many people under contract to that company. They have 4 shows that run an hour or usually more, 2 hours, between dark Rampage and Dynamite, plus the hour of Elevation. So that's 2 for 7 hours.
Yeah.
We're still not seeing everybody on those 4 shows.
At all.
There are
insanity.
just too many damn people under contracts, and yet they're bitching because, I'm not. You know what? Here's my main issue with the people that come on and, I'm not getting TV time. You know what? You got to earn that TV time.
Damn right.
As ridiculous as it is that both companies have hired so many freaking people that they don't know their right hand from their left when it comes to talent or talent relations. Let's not kid ourselves. With all due respect to, yes, even John Laurinaitis and Christopher Daniels, how do you relate to that many freaking talents at once? You can't do it. It's impossible. Sasha and Naomi walked out. They couldn't get in to see John until they took a friggin' stand. Because John doesn't know what the hell his right hand left hand's doing half the time because he's got so many fucking people underneath him to try to worry about. I'd be talking like this too from exhaustion if I was John Laurinaitis. Are you kidding me? And then Chris Daniels, I love Chris Daniels. But that one person handling that many friggin' people, oh my God, let me just go ahead and give myself a comatose. Let me give myself a BME and knock myself unconscious for a while to deal with it. So as much as we want to condemn, WWE's going to be out of business, they're going to sell, you have to remember something. For every single walkout you see, there's 65 people that are sitting there collecting a paycheck and not worrying about a goddamn thing the rest of their lives.
And that's a whole nother thing, too, because at the end of the day, you're just trying to make a livelihood. You love this business. You love this industry, but you also want to make sure you thrive in the world of professional wrestling. At the end of the day, money is what pays the bills and takes care of your body, not just what you wish to do maybe all the time in professional wrestling, whether or not it's for your own good in that ring.
Yeah.
And I'll just add to that real quick.
Please do.
While I understand the both companies getting shit for having too many people on the roster, there's a key difference.
Okay.
AEW, while they can't have everybody on their television show all the time, does a good job of rotating their people. And even if they still can't use everybody, they allow people to go outside of the walls of AEW and do shit that they want to do.
Freedom!
Agreed.
In WWE, they don't even get the fucking chance to try and earn a push. Whereas in AEW, I can't tell you how many times people have tried to earn pushes. At least in AEW, there is way more opportunity. When has there been any opportunity in WWE that wasn't for the stars that they pegged to be the stars of the company by their own admission?
Agreed.
JJ, I will pass to you with what I'm about to say here because I want to hear your answer because I think you'll agree with me. James, you said there's plenty of opportunity because the forbidden door, quote unquote, is open because they can go other places.
Right.
Are we or are we not doing the show 2 days before Forbidden Door because Forbidden Door is being so because it's not really a Forbidden Door. There's 2 companies. Now, before you get too down my throat about it, yes, we have an opportunity to see multiple people in multiple promotions, but the reason we're doing that fantasy booking show, JJ, yes or no, is because AEW versus New Japan. It's the same people. Why am I going to pay that money? Why am I going to buy the ticket to go to Chicago and see that show if it's people we can see in either company? Oh, well, it's Okada versus Punk. Okay, cool. I don't mind waiting to see that another time for me personally. So if we're having a Forbidden Door show, let's kick the sumbitch off the hinges and bring WWE, Impact, the NWA, MLW, New Japan, All Japan, whoever the hell's left, everybody. So yes, there's opportunity elsewhere for these AEW guys, but to play devil's advocate, the way they're marketing that Forbidden Door is grossly incorrect, which is why JJ pitched this idea in the first place. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I agree. Granted, I've stated multiple times, I don't know a whole lot about New Japan. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to watch the weekly shows when I get the opportunity here. But from what I see on the New Japan roster, a good chunk of the talent is already AEW talent.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like a true Forbidden Door. We talked about it when I first proposed the idea. Mickie James coming into the Women's Rumble with the Knockouts title to Hardcore Country felt more like a Forbidden Door move than this pay-per-view feels. Now, granted, we have no matches announced yet.
Right.
Granted. They could definitely pull some shit out of their asses and surprise us.
Of course.
But on the surface, it doesn't feel as special as it's being presented to be, which is why I came up with the idea of making a true Forbidden Door pay-per-view fantasy card. WWE talent, Impact talent, AEW talent, New Japan talent.
Oh, so we can just go crazy.
As long as they are currently employed.
Any of those 4 companies, as long as they are currently employed by said company.
Ew.
And
so MJF is kind of a question mark right now.
But
Sasha and Naomi are kind of a question mark right now because we still don't know what's happening with them.
Right.
But pretty much anybody else, I'm even willing to allow if they're currently on the injured list, because as me and Jeff know from experience, Drew Doughty was out with an injury during the playoffs, but he straight up said, and he's supposed to be out until beginning of next year. He went on record and said that if the Kings had made it to the Stanley Cup or the Western Conference Finals this year, he would have come back from injury to play injured because it meant that much to him.
He'd hobbled his ass out there done it anyway because he's Drew Doughty. So
even if someone is on the injured list, to get an opportunity like this, they'd find some way, tape that shit up, put triple braces on it, OG Austin style, something to gimp out there and have a moment.
And for the sake of JJ's sanity with booking this, since this is the shows he actually watches, we're limiting it to WWE, AEW, Impact, and New Japan. So
okay, that changes my entire idea of booking the card now. And
wow,
I have a sandbox. Cool.
Yes,
that's what I wanted. I wanted people to go bonkers. I'll let you in on this little secret. I don't think I have any one-on-one matches that I have written down so far. Everything is at least a triple threat.
Wow.
Because I want to try to get as much company representation, as many people onto this card as possible.
And we had talked about, making it AEW 13 matches tonight. We can do one night. We'll be okay. So what was our cap?
For our own sanity, I think we said let's not go past 10. I think we said between 8 and 10.
Okay.
8 is a standard pay-per-view. 10 for a super card, I think, is fair.
I think I'm safe to say I hope I never see a 13 card pay-per-view again. That was freaking ridiculous.
Do not watch WrestleMania 5 ever.
Well, that's for more than one reason besides the amount, but I digress.
There's tons of reason on 5.
Honestly, 5 was better than 4, and 4 had the tournament. 4
also sucked.
4, dude. Bruce Pritchard himself. That was his first Mania. Pritchard himself called that show a shit show.
Oh, it showed.
Yeah, it was so. Okay, now granted, there's a lot of discussion and chatter about 4 and the history and everything, but at the end of the day, when your greatest match on the card, the match that actually stands out as something decent, is fucking Demolition beating Strikeforce the tag titles. Yeah. Okay. The Road Warrior Rejects against the future Model and Matador. Let's call that one a night. Good Lord Almighty.
All right.
That was the best match besides Savage DiBiase. I'm not even joking, and I forget what episode it was, but they actually just re-released it on Friday's Southern Wrestle time slot. Yeah, they go into it for like 2 hours, and at the end of the day, Pritchard and Connor are just like, oh god, the show's so bad. So
I will say real quick, so we're finally back on topic. Were we talking about AEW oversaturation?
Yes,
we were. Yes.
All right, so we were kind of getting into that a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, so yeah,
good Lord Almighty.
People starting to drop off in the chat room, so I think we're going to take that as a sign and call it a night.
I still had some.
Go, dude, please.
I was going to say, y'all were curious about my diatribe.
Oh yes. Okay.
And it wasn't. It's not going to be near as bad as it was originally going to be. Jeff, do you have the men's bracket that I sent you? Can you bring that up, please?
The men. Oh, for the Owen.
Yes.
I can in a minute here. Hang on, because actually, I actually everything already queued up. I was gonna congratulate both of them while we were still on the air here, but I'll go ahead and.
I just need the men's because
I got you. I'm trying to work as best I can here. Hang on. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Yeah, I know that's kind of a dumb botch, but what are you gonna do?
Beautiful belts, though. One of those beautiful commemorative straps.
Yeah, I commend the folks behind the belts. Whoever did that did a job. Cool, well done. I'm glad they did that because, especially with both of them winning the tournament, it's like, okay, well, they're going to be in the same house. So what's the point of having two trophies? That's kind of stupid.
Exactly.
So, where the hell are those bracket? There they are. You see you wanted the men's bracket, yes?
Yes, please.
Okay, stand by. I put it together. Caca. Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. Hang on. Damn it.
As Jeff gets this figured out,
folks, I'm trying.
We'd like to remind you to please keep following and supporting the Jeff Meacham Network for all your daily, weekly insights and all things wrestling. Styles FTW family on Twitter, as well as movies, sports, and so much more. And we have a ton of content ahead for you, too, including more, Lord help my voice, play-by-play action, courtesy of me, too, for all the companies, including the WWE, much to the chagrin of James Hebert, who will definitely be petting his cat outside the sidelines. As well as Impact Wrestling and so much more in the NWA too.
But don't forget, Noah, as we're doing Red Creative Hate next week, we're going to get live footage of James petting his pussy, so it'll be okay. Anyway.
Whoa.
That's right.
Whoa.
Okay.
The way you word that is a bit mad, bro.
That's right. I done said what I said. Anyway, JJ, the floor is yours, sir.
So
I can make this a little bit better for you. There we go. That's what I wanted to do.
My issue with this tournament bracket is this. And I'm going to ask Jeff to try to keep out of it a little bit because me and him already had face-to-face conversation about this last weekend when he was up here.
We did.
All right.
My issue is this. If they were going to have this many, I'm going to use that C word again, WWE cast-offs in this match to the point where the final four were all recently transplanted from WWE. Why not just do this tournament in the WWE?
Right.
You know, I try so hard to understand Martha Hart and Oj and the whole Hart family who had to suffer with this tragedy and this heartbreak and everything. And I had come around to where I understood her side and where she was coming from. But then this happens. And you've got Jeff Hardy, who I have honestly become a fan of again after renouncing him years ago.
On the air.
Going over a day winner like Darby Allin. You've got Ray Fenix jobbing to Kyle O'Reilly. You've got all these ex-WWEs, and granted, I understand they made their names in Ring of Honor and other companies prior to coming to the E as well.
Yes.
But for the casual fan that tunes in to AEW Dynamite or Rampage, they know these guys from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Yes.
Was this a poorly booked tournament? I'm not going off as much about the women's side because I feel like Britt won and she was essentially a day oneer. I was all set to get bent out of shape if the finals had been Soho versus Storm. Because it basically would have been the same crap on the women's side.
Right.
There are so many AEW talents, like we discussed, that aren't getting TV time that very easily could have been in this tournament. Ethan Page, Frankie Kazarian, even if they got eliminated and still had their spot on the cards where they did. You look at all the ex-WWE guys that are in this tournament. Kyle O'Reilly, Samoa Joe, Johnny Elite, the Joker. You've got Hardy. You've got Cole. Was Dax in NXT too? I wasn't watching for them. Okay.
Dax and Cash were the revival, FTR. Yeah, they were major.
So you've got 6 ex-WWE guys in this tournament.
Just to qualify. There were more in the qualifiers, too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everybody qualified, by the way, to get in this thing except for the Joker. It wasn't like anything was given.
No.
That's the problem I have with this tournament.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And they backed themselves into a corner here having Cole versus Joe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I would have had Darby in the finals personally.
Right.
Against one of them.
Yes.
Thoughts? Am I out of line here?
For me, the main reason I think they went with what they went with was there was a lot more original names in the women's side. And I think this was a fan service to the WWE fan. That's what I think this was. I think a lot of people were pissed off, unreasonably fucking so, by the way, about the Owen being on AEW and not in WWE, and Martha Hart not working with WWE, that this was a fan service deal for them. So, at the end of it all, sure, was it a lot of WWE cast-offs? Yes. However, was the outcome the right one at the end of the tournament? Yep. What was the reason? Adam Cole won the men, Britt Baker won the women. The end goal for Martha Hart was that a family to be was celebrated. And that's all that should fucking matter at the end of the day.
Noah, your thoughts?
I kind of echo the same thing of James Hebert here when it comes to the presentation. It wasn't necessarily about who you think was going to win this. It was about how they would preserve and move forward with the legacy of Owen Hart. You can make the argument that, he went for the WWF. Why didn't WWE do this? I talked to Vince McMahon because he doesn't respect professional wrestling at the end of the day, whether you want to believe it or not. He's a businessman, a sports entertainment enterprise, and that's all the WWE is at the end of the day. So for me, the way that AEW really tries to put forward not just the idealisms, not just the competition, but what everything stands for when you hear the two words professional wrestling is what really drove this home. They truly care about the name of the sport and the art form of it too. And it really was encompassed the day they honored the late great Brody Lee, which again was also another factor that led to this becoming a thing too. It was a conscious, heartfelt, willing trust and made forward decision delivered on promise that pushed Martha Hart to break down her walls or open her door and allow AEW to use not only the name but literally everything that Owen Hart stands for too, including footage from NJPW. For me, I look at the work ethic, I look at who brought it forward here, I look at who deserved it, I look at who most honored it. You can't argue with the way that all the matches, the outside the human car wreck of Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy, but that's a conversation for another day, really push forward this idea of wrestling in the name of Owen Hart. And it also was a river too, so the Mikey Ito thing, it is what it is, folks. For Joshi Pro, blame Kenny Omega for that. Let's just put that out there.
I also want to add too that the Joshi match with Maki Ito, while I still don't like it, especially that it went through a commercial break,
right?
I think was more of celebrating the ribber that was Owen Hart at the end.
As you did point out, James.
Honest to God, that was probably the biggest rib you could have pulled. So
I would say
there's no argument.
Yeah.
There's no argument with that.
I think it genuinely encapsulated Owen Hart's entire legacy in the industry.
And you saw how much Ruby Soho in the end really tried to push the mentality that she needed this win and wanted this win. She wanted to overcome Britt Baker. But I feel like she can ease her spirit knowing that Britt respects her. If nothing else, respect was earned and honor was truly shown in the name of Owen Hart. You couldn't ask for more than that, literally presented by Martha Hart herself at the end of this incredible tournament. A wrestling tournament that truly respected what it stood for. And that's what's most important versus a lot of other stuff we've seen lately from that other company.
Let me ask you this then. I'm going to piggyback off of James's statement about putting it on a family to be. Why couldn't it have gone to, as much as I dislike them, Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti?
Apparently,
neither one of them were in the tournament, as far as I recall.
You are correct. They weren't even
both
in a qualifier.
of them are essentially homegrown AEW talents.
Yes.
So rather than having a field full of ex-WWE guys, you could have a couple more originals and the same end result with both originals. Noah, you were trying to say something. Go ahead. Then we'll go to Jeff.
Well, the way I see it is this. Tony Khan clearly had a planned out agenda. And again, Chris Jericho alluded to, when this was officially made known, there were people lining up to be in this thing, let alone try and qualify for it. At the end of the day, when you look at how this thing started, Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti had a different agenda and a different narrative. I think at the time, Sammy Guevara was literally the TNT champion, and Tay Conti wanted to get her hands on Paige Van Zandt. With that other storyline going, whether we like it or not, they already had something going. Personally, when you look at who was in this thing, it was trying to involve people that weren't involved in anything else. And Chris Statler was an audible, but at the end of the day, we respect Chris Statler and believe she should be a champion. That's why I feel like people like Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti, for example, why it makes sense two homegrown AEW talents were involved in this thing. If they weren't in this narrative or love story out of a high school drama, it'd probably be a whole different story, and I would agree with you.
Yeah,
James, no, that's okay. James, go ahead.
I everything that Noah just said, I think is the reason why you can't go with Sammy and Tay. As much as I like the act, unlike a lot of other people, Sammy and Tay was not a representation of Owen Hart's legacy. When's the last time you saw Owen Hart just smooch and lips a friggin' woman on national television?
I mean, he did it to a trophy when he got the Slammy, but not to a woman, to my knowledge.
Right. The dude was legitimately respect personified when it came to treating women with respect. And anybody that knows Owen Hart would tell you that, how much of a family man he was. The only real representation of that IRL is Adam Cole, because he's a fucking awesome human being, and Britt Baker, who's an awesome human being. So
hell of a worker too.
I don't think, and this is genuinely how I feel, I don't think you could have picked anybody better, and I don't think anybody else made sense for the inaugural. Keep in mind, there's a lot more tournaments that can happen down the line,
and I definitely believe there will be.
Yeah, this one was a feel good moment for Martha, for the audience, and for Cole and Britt.
Okay.
Who deeply care about wrestling history and who are great people, much like Owen and Martha were in their heyday.
That's fair. That's fair. I hadn't even, to be perfectly honest, I hadn't even thought about what you had said, James, about putting it on a family to be. That thought hadn't even crossed my mind when I saw that they were in the bracket. You know, I knew that I didn't really want them both to win. I would rather have had Joe win, even though essentially he's a cast-off as well. But as long as Joe has gone undefeated in past companies, I thought it would have been kind of cool to try to restart the streak here, especially since he is ROH TV champ. But I feel like you made a solid point there with the family to be thing.
So a couple things. First of all, the mental image that sprung to mind when I thought of Ty and Sammy making out like freaking teenagers in front of the trophy. Just made me want to completely do a dad's walk off and hurl off the air. So I'm glad they didn't do it that way. Number one.
Yeah. He's not wrong, folks. He's not wrong.
Nor am I out of line. Fight me.
You're definitely not out of line either.
Number two.
I'm with you, actually. On that.
As far as family to be, based on who was in it, these two people are definitely the two people that should have won. But if we're going to talk about, it shouldn't have been WWE cast-offs, but if it's going to be, why not Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling?
There it is, folks. Like it or
instead
not,
instead of bringing, and again, I love me some John Hannigan. John and I are buds, okay? But you bring in John on the men's side the same night, you don't bring Taya. You bring in Macchiato, which, again, whole other discussion. If you debut Johnny Gargano, and again, JJ and I go back and forth on Candice LeRae, so whatever, but and I'm not even saying Candice should have been that far in the tournament where she should have won, because I don't think she should have. But you talk about family or family to be, there is no, I dare say, more beloved WWE cast-off family unit than Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Gargano. So that's where I would have gone with that had it been truly a WWE cast-off pairing. Now, let me, again, rewind that back. Adam Cole, before he became the guy in NXT, before he became leader of the Undisputed Era, before he became the next Shawn Michaels' greatest protege since Bryan Danielson, that dude ruled Ring of Honor with an iron friggin' fist with Red Dragon with him. He was PWG champion, I think, for 904 days or some shit consecutively. So that guy has been a stud everywhere. And you talk about people that are, homegrown pillar, whatever you want to call it. Britt Baker, Punk himself says she should be a pillar of the company as far as actually recognized. And she is, for my money. So if any two people in AEW that are going to be the future of the brand, along with Punk becoming the world champion tonight, are going to carry forward the legacy of Owen Hart that aren't Canadian, let's be clear, I can't honestly think of anybody better than Mr. or Mrs. or Adam Cole and Britt Baker.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Baby.
Mr. and Mrs. Baby. There you go.
I like that, yeah.
Hey, and at the end of the day, when you have somebody holding the legacy of a Canadian who, hockey being, what is it there? A legacy of a Canadian that can, repair teeth if they get knocked out, I'm all right with it.
I genuinely.
And they absolutely earned it. It's not about deserving it. They earned it.
And that's the thing. Both of them are the smarmiest, the dastardly heels. Kyle got a little involved. I'm not going to front. Both of them got that 1, 2, 3 or that submission straight up.
Yeah.
And there was no ego. There was no showboating. There was no affection.
Nope.
There was a humble state of humility with a queen and a king crown in the name of Owen Hart in the first tournament, done proudly.
And other than the involvement of Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, brief as it was, nowhere near enough shenanigans like we thought there should be.
And for the record, now that you brought it up,
welcome back,
Ken. Say they will not do this idea next year. I genuinely could see in the finals of next year's tournament them doing Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano and
entirely possible.
Versus Britt Baker for the Owen, and having Gargano and LeRae win the next year. Which, sign me up. I'm for that. I'm seriously for that. Like, I understand why. Okay, it should be for AEW homegrown, but I think it's a lot more than AEW. It's about the legacy of Owen Hart and
damn right.
So you got to take homegrown stuff out of it for at least the first couple of years.
Well, and again, I don't think it's so much homegrown as what JJ's point was. The fact is there were so many WWE people in there that it should have been WWE. And he and I argued that, it's one of those, it's never going to happen. As long as Martha
is not.
as long as Martha and her children have the say in that, in Owen's legacy, they will never be able to capitalize like they want to. The fact of the matter is, they got a DVD out of it, and that pissed. Like, went to court pissed about it with the family. And you haven't seen an Owen Hart figure. Tell you that right now. They are having Owen Hart figures come out soon on the AEW side. So
because Martha Hart, the foundation, and her family trusts the idealisms of professional wrestling and the legacy Owen Hart left in it to a professional wrestling company doing proudly AEW.
I think the best way, and I'm going to try to wrap this up and get into plugs because it's damn near 11:30.
I did have one other thing I wanted to briefly cover before we get into plugs. I just sent you images. If you could show those in the order I sent them to you.
I will do
Go
that.
ahead, Jeff.
But I will say this. It comes down to a very simple comparison of phrases that has become popular, particularly with a barn burner of a match tonight. Martha Hart will never let Owen's legacy be used in a sports entertainment presentation.
Yeah.
But a wrestling presentation? Why not?
Especially when it's done proudly. That's professional wrestling honor. Damn it.
Yes. Jay, before I load these, did you edit these or were these posted like this?
I edited them so they would be able to fit.
Okay, I'm asking because I wasn't going to overlay them. I was just going to put them up like I did this one. So
that's fine.
Well, I mean, they're going to look.
I don't have the originals anymore.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got to do it. Give me. I got to do one at a time here. So bear with me.
No, that's fine. Like I said, just go in the order I gave them to you.
That's what I'm doing. I just got to forward them to myself, which is always an adventure.
Take your time, man. I mean, again. Sorry, excuse me.
What we're about to show, and I'm mainly doing this, number one, to promote, because, God damn it, the show has me excited. Number two, I want to get James and Noah's thoughts on some of these matches.
Because they are good.
Because I'm not as familiar with some of this talent as I know you guys are. So I'm curious. I can judge by your guys' reaction.
Oh, boy. Okay.
How good these matches have the potential of being. Coming up in a couple of weeks, I think I mentioned the last time, and I even know I showed the group chat a graphic of like a collective. The Derby Room in Pomona, XPW, Extreme Pro Wrestling, is coming back. They're doing a tournament to crown their first ever women's champion.
Yes, I remember
this. This obviously is not one of those matches, but, you know, got to get the Extreme match in here. Do either of you have any knowledge of these guys? I've never heard of them.
I do not. Dirty Ron and Alex Kalan, I've never heard of these two.
Okay, so we can just move on to the next one then, Jeff, and actually start the brackets because they've announced the first round matches.
Oh, I recognize that woman on the left, Lindsay Snow, with a few matches under her AEW Dark showcasing. She has a mean background.
No idea.
And Ludark Shaitan, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Any knowledge of her?
I've heard the name, but not much past it, unfortunately.
No idea.
Okay, but Lindsay Snow, what can you tell me about her, Noah?
Well, I know that she's got a bit of a Ruby Soho type renegade attitude with her, delivers a mean lariat, and I saw her put in some work a little bit on AEW Dark. It's going to come down to a power game between her and Ludark Shaitan, and looking at Miss Shaitan here, I'm curious what her background brings, maybe beyond Lucha Libre.
Okay, fair enough, Jeff.
Let's do this one. Try to do it in order like you asked me to. These two I know very well. One of them personally. The family of the Santino brothers, as far as Supreme's, I believe, niece, if I remember right, against the hot mess. Good grief. Chelsea Green. I love it.
Chelsea Green's out to prove a point. Like you said, Jeff, she is the woman that has been just so, belittled and held down and freaking just like up yours, professional wrestling industry. I own this thing. Chelsea 469 says I could do whatever you want in and out of the ring. So I definitely got Chelsea Green taking this. I think she's definitely ready.
You don't want to count out Sage Sin though, being as how she's like the homegrown XPW original here.
That's true, but I wonder how well she's prepared
She's
for
dressed like a pumpkin.
Oh no!
Screw that.
Do not let that fool you for a minute, Mr. Hebert, at all.
Do not judge a book by its cover.
Remember how I talked about? Remember I talked about Candice LeRae being the only person in a Guerrilla Warfare match with Joey Ryan versus the Bucks that was bleeding? Yeah, Sage Sin says, "Hold my freaking vial of plasma." Okay, just saying.
Oh boy!
Before you move on to the next one, Ken in the chat room says, "Noah, I heard Lindsay throws a Hanson-like lariat. Is that accurate?"
Does.
Accurate.
She does.
She cray for real. All right, this one's gonna be good, as Booker would say.
La Loca, Taya Valkyrie taking on Steph DeLanda. Okay, this looks interesting.
Recently released from NXT. Steph DeLanda.
Let's keep that in mind. For those that don't know, I believe she was Persia,
yes. Part of that foursome that never went any friggin' where with Sam Shaw, slave name, and whatever the dude's name is.
Duke Hudson, but not my NXT.
Right, yeah, I know.
First thing, God bless Taya Valkyrie. Continue.
Jesus.
And then the one I picked to go last.
Oh, I know why. Because long may she reign in her era. Why she faces the freaking foundation of women champions professional wrestling, damn it! Camille versus Deonna Purrazzo. If you fought Serena D versus Camille for the Burke with something taxing and special, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's all I can say about that.
That's going to be a hell of a first round, let alone the rest of the night. And for the record...
go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, if we're going to go ahead and start the plugs here, I'll start with this image first and instead of last. The 25th is one of the very few nights I have off. So somebody's going to Pomona. In theory. But yeah, that is how it lays out now. You guys saw the announcement before the very first, the trailer, which was about 25 hours ago now, roughly. We're covering the Best Super Juniors finals. Noah is anyway on Friday morning. With whoever you want there with you, brother, you let me know.
If Casey's up for it, I mean, he usually is my NJPW correspondent to preview the G1 Climax, which we also have to figure out too, which I imagine is going to come ahead at Dominion, which is also literally a week and a half beyond that too. So we'll see.
So we got Dominion on the 12th. We've also decided to add Against All Odds, which is an Impact like special, I guess. It's on a Friday night, July 1st. I didn't put that in the trailer because it's actually in July, so I didn't want to go too far into the weeds. But we are covering that show. But yeah, other than the 18th and the 25th, there will be some sort of stream presented by Jeff Meacham or a Jeff Meacham Network presentation.
Which, by the way, Jeff, the 18th is that Wrestling Prestige in Pomona as well.
So every day we're booked this month, and it's okay, cool. I ain't got time off, cool. But you know what? The great part is, you see, Wednesday is a Greg Cherry show, but in addition to the Greg Cherry show, as I've been talking about all freaking night, let me go ahead and get that graphic going here. Boop. And no, okay, we need the cursor to go where it needs to go. Thank you. It's 11:30 at night. My brain's not happening. There it is.
All ready to shut down.
Prior to the Greg Cherry show, we will be live. I'll be there. I know it says all day, but it won't be all day. I wish it was, but I unfortunately, Dylan is still in school on Wednesday, so I can't leave until he leaves. So I'll be on a 7:30 a.m. bus, going down to Inglewood. God help me double. But I'll again. JJ's wearing this shirt, man. I'm going home. Like I have this whole grand vision of returning to Inglewood, returning to the site where I had my childhood, other than my home. And then AEW said, "Here, dude, hold your Reform Club badge." Like, okay, I'll go early. That's cool. So yeah, I'm so stoked about this. I really am.
I don't blame you.
I'm giddy. And after what we saw tonight, dude, I never in my wildest dreams, and JJ will back me up on this because we've talked about it the last 8 years, I never imagined I'd be in a wrestling arena and hear Cult Personality again, ever. And I'm going to see it play with the world champion coming down the ramp. Like, Jesus.
Right.
And hopefully, please, wrestling gods, even you, Bradshaw, give me a Judas moment in the arena with the actual AEW crowd. I got on the cruise, and it was wonderful, and it's on videotape. I can't make money off it because of the copyrights are a muckerfuther, but give me one in the arena so I can have it on TBS and let the world see it for real.
Right.
Okay.
Ken, to answer your question that you've asked like 3 times in the chat room, we don't know if he's related to Carlos Colon or not. Anyways, get back to what you were saying, Jeff.
Yes. So, the Cyberfight Festival on the same day as the Dominion. Again, we're trying not to overextend my already concussed ass too much, Elizabeth, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Before I get to the plethora of plugs for both myself and Miss Rose, because JJ, I do have your plugs ready as well. James, what say you on promotion, sir? What do you have to plug as we go into
for me
the end of May and June?
As my voice is going.
That's why I'm saying go ahead first.
Going. Number one thing that you guys should check out. If you're on the J Hebert Studios channel, you already know. But if you like the intro in the beginning, you will like WYW. Obviously, going to be the first thing I promote. Go check out Weymouth Youth Wrestling. That is my CAW wrestling promotion that I run like a pro wrestling company. So go check that out. YouTube.com/user/WYW Pride. With that said, I also have a retro wrestling review series on Owen's channel on Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated. Go check that out. That's going to be on Double or Nothing 2019. We were trying to do that before this, but everything on Owen's schedule completely got in the way, so we are doing it post AEW Double or Nothing 2022. So be on the lookout for that at some point down the line, as well as an Indy Force. We will be talking about stuff. We will also be covering Open Mic Night with MIKE, not the MIC, like it is here. That will be with the boys, Mike Nikos and Michael X. We will be covering our second part of the toxicity of the IWC part 2. And depending on how everything else
your
goes,
mentalities.
Right. Depending on how this week goes, that should be interesting.
Yes.
And also, on top of that, I think the last thing I need to plug is Jay Hebert's side of things. Basically, because I'm actually going to be, because we haven't done it on here and we haven't done it on any other programs in affiliation with any of the people we work with, I am going to be covering, for personal reasons, the Amber Heard and what's his name? Why am I
Johnny
Depp case, and the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett case.
Oh, Lord Almighty, brother!
Covering both of those.
You boy crazy
for multiple reasons. Be on the lookout for all of those in the next coming week or two. So there you go.
All right, Mr. Foster.
Gentlemen, again tonight. We embraced what we love, and that's professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. I somehow still have a voice, and I have no idea how that's possible too.
I don't. Oh God.
Oh, you poor soul.
Oh, red world. MGF.
As I drank 3 cans of Mountain Dew to close this thing out too.
Jesus Christ.
You want to know more about me, though? Know this. I am just the simple man, the proud play-by-play commentator of the Jeff Meacham Network, too, but also a lifelong professional wrestling fan. So find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Foster1916. On my channel will be an ATW review discussing the results, the fallout, and so much more to come of what we think might come, too, in and out of AEW regarding what we saw tonight at Double or Nothing, and what I might hear from the media scrum too with a out of his mind Tony Khan, you crazy madman. But I thank you. Also, Cindy, as I said, Cindy, me, and Chris Lawson will actually be doing the recap and review for the Daily Slam right here on YouTube via Zoom and then uploading it some point later today. As I wish you all once again a happy and blessed and safe Memorial Day. Remember the fallen, honor them too. As always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. There are just fans with own opinions for this passion we all share, whether you want to believe it or not. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality, and if you can, I just welcome you to encourage you to try to just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. Simple as that.
There you go. JJ, before we, I had a wonderful line. I lost it in my concussed brain, so we'll just go ahead and go to your plugs. But there is quite a bit going on with you just this week alone, my friend. But we'll go ahead and give you the full court press, if you will, starting with tomorrow.
Okay.
Hey.
Prior to tomorrow, make sure if you didn't get a chance to go back, watch the Warzone from today, which premiered as we were going live here. Tomorrow, prior to Red Notice, I believe, unless things have changed, we are doing Renegade Recap at 2
Which
o'clock.
I forgot about, so we'll go ahead and... Yeah, okay, my bad.
Following Renegade Recap, Red Notice will go live at 3 o'clock.
Damn it.
Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern, as my shows always go live.
Hey.
Oh, I had it for 3:30 because we were going to do Dads at 4, but okay.
Botch.
Always goes live at 3 o'clock. We only bump
fine.
it. We only bump it up to 2:30 when we're doing the top 10 lists.
Okay, fine.
Whew,
so we're already botching my plugs with Jeff trying. Here we go.
I'm trying. All
So
right.
like I said,
These I got right.
Okay, so
that's all that matters.
I said, tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 Eastern, Renegade Recap, the first one since the relaunch. 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, Red Notice. 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, Dads, not always on wrestling, Ask the Dads. And then, as this shows here, we've got movies with only one sequel lined up through the rest of the month. You got Journey to the Center of the Earth, Journey to the Mysterious Island, Wayne's World 2, Young Guns 2, National Treasure Book of Secrets, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Kick-Ass 2, and there is an empty day there. I'm not going to announce just yet what is coming there, but there's going to be a double feature there, bringing back double feature days like I used to do back in the day when I wanted to do a two-parter or an original and a remake or something along those lines. That will be a double feature day, so I can feature another day of content. Make sure you tune in on Saturdays when I throw up a brand new release movie, whether it's in theaters or in streaming. I know Jeff doesn't have an image for it, but this coming Saturday, the 4th, is going to be the Rescue Rangers movie, which just recently dropped on Disney+.
So good.
If you enjoy Roger Rabbit, if you enjoy Cool World back in the 90s, that live-action animated hybrid, very much that style of movie, very much a throwback to Roger Rabbit with non-Disney properties appearing within the movie as cameos. Gotta watch it, check it out, see some of the characters that pop up here and there. I have been convinced by the 3 people that responded to my Twitter to cover the Kenobi series. So Thursdays coming this month, I'll be covering the Kenobi series that's coming out on Disney+.
Love it.
First 2 episodes already live.
So good.
By the end of the month, we should have covered the entire series because it's only 6 episodes.
Oh, shit, that's right.
That's
And
impressive.
the first 2 just premiered. So the first 2 will be done on the 2nd, this Thursday, and then each week will be the last 4.
There you go.
And then the thing I am the most excited for this week, the thing I am the most looking forward to and the most nervous about. Saturday the 4th, NXT in your house, doing color commentary alongside the simple man himself, Noah Foster. I like I said, I am so stoked to be doing this with you, and I am nervous as all get out. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't.
Be yourself and bring your charm, man. We're going to have a fun time with this thing, too, even if it is sports entertainment, and many people have their own opinions of it, too. At the end of the day, we're just going to make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a pretty decent card that's already been announced for this one. You've got NXT North American Championship, Cameron Grimes defending against Carmelo Hayes. You got the NXT Tag Titles, Pretty Deadly defending against the Creed Brothers. You got the NXT World Championship, Braun Breaker defending again against Joe Gacy. You got the NXT Tag Titles, Toxic Attraction versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter. You got the finals of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez.
Roxanne for the win.
And you've got Mandy Rose defending her women's title against Wendy Chu.
Something tells me Wendy Chu will not be sleeping during that match either.
So you've already got a pretty stacked card, and you still got this week's episode of NXT for something else to be added.
So there you go.
There you go.
So there's what we're going to see from the Renegade. Before we get into my plugs, because they are many, as we do on the Jeff Meacham Network.
They are massive.
I'm a busy man.
Like
that's okay.
Old company, Pro Wrestling Massive.
This is what happens when you own an enterprise, folks. By the way, I win!
Shit.
You know what? The fact that I got more than half for my first AEW pay-per-view impresses me.
You should be.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
I respect you. I am the greatest. I am all elite. And I am the Jeff Meacham Network Prediction Champion. And we'll see what happens this weekend.
There you go. All right. So let me bring us back to...
Casey, you were close.
There we go. Hi. There you go. Okay.
Hey.
So the week kicks off, as it does on Mondays, with a Dad's product. However, it is not Dad's, not always a wrestling top 10. It is Ask the Dads this week. Of course, following Red Notice, as I said earlier, sorry, I forgot to change the 4 Pacific first. I'm tired as hell. And I actually did it the following week, too, but we'll get there in a minute. It is what it is. But again, 7 o'clock Eastern 4 Pacific for Ask the Dads the following day, of course. And as I found out through certain sources, because I was told incorrectly at first, not only are they going to be on the networks advertised, we will be on NoDQ every Tuesday going forward.
Hey, good deal.
Regardless of predictions, because Aaron's doing his predictions before NXT or before whatever show is on Tuesdays. So rather than me having to compete with him or knock him off his own network, Talk Wrestling will be a 4-channel simulcast going forward. So I'm very
realize, Jeff, it's a double feature this week. Not only do we predict in your house, we got to predict the Red Crate of Hate, too, because they're on the same weekend.
Well, for you guys on the NoDQ side predictions, God bless you, for real. Luckily, we do that shit on day of on the Jeff Meacham Network because I never understood the policy of doing it on Tuesday. But again, I don't run NoDQ. I'm just happy to put my ball cap on and go along for the ride as I have for 20 years.
Same, brother, and I'll have a forum, too, if needed.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Again, Wednesday, as I said, I'll be at the Forum for Dynamite. Of course, JJ will be starting his month of Movies Only One sequel with Journey to the Center of the Earth starring Brendan Fraser. And then we'll be on at 7 o'clock Eastern Pacific with the Greg Cherry Show this week. Again, we're supposed to have a bonus show Thursday. Greg was just not up for it. It was just one of those weeks for everybody around here. I'm not going to lie. So we went ahead and scrapped that. Thursday, I did advertise this, so I'm trying to decide if I want to do it live or if I want to pre-tape with whoever wants to be involved. So I will get with everybody tomorrow on this. But as it is the 20th anniversary of Impact Wrestling / TNA Wrestling this coming month, on 19th, of course, the anniversary itself, 20 years to the day, I do want to cover certain milestone TNA Impact events. And one of those is the very first show. And one of those matches from that show was the Gauntlet for the Gold, with the winners, of course, meeting for the 10 pounds of gold. So if I do it live, we'll do it live. If I end up pre-taping, either way, we'll get together with the team here on screen, whoever else wants to get involved in this, and we'll see what everybody's schedule's like come Thursday.
Exactly.
Where did I leave? Okay, so Friday was one of the things that got announced during the trailer today, so we'll go ahead and make it official, as Pierce would say.
Official.
It's official.
Roger.
We at 2 a.m. Pacific, because I'm a crazy person. However, in my defense, Dylan's out of school the previous day. So there you go. There is that. 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. Noah and whoever else is crazy enough to do it will be covering the finals of the 2022 edition of the Best of Super Juniors because it is heavily, and I mean heavily, rumored that Will Ospreay will indeed show up and make his presence known as Will Ospreay do. So
one way or another.
I want to see it for my damn self because I love me some Will Ospreay, and I want to see how it lays out. So there is that. Saturday, as JJ mentioned, I'm looking forward to this for a lot of reasons, but definitely hearing JJ do color commentary / play-by-play along with our simple man Noah Foster on In Your House. And as promised, it is guaranteed, one way or the other, we will have a cameo appearance of James petting his pussy. So there will be that on Saturday. Let's not forget.
Hopefully, since we usually do open mic nights afterwards, hopefully James will at least pop in during the pre-show, give his thoughts and predictions on matches, and then pop in for open mic night afterwards. If he chooses not to hang out during the PLE, that's on him. No one's going to begrudge him that, but hopefully he'll at least show up for the pre-show and the open mic nights.
Yes. And speaking of PLEs, I don't have the official Jeff Meacham graphic ready yet because I need to redo the logo because it turned out like crap blown up. But in absence of that, I'll go ahead and plug. Well, that's way zoomed in. Jesus Christ. Hang on a minute here. Boop, boop. There it is.
Abandon all hope, ye who enter through the gates, for the red crate of hate looks to claim its next victim.
Yes, and that'll be coming up at 6:30 Eastern with our pre-show and predictions because we ain't going to have that many because it's going to go quick. Not even going to lie. And then 8 o'clock, of course, Eastern with the play-by-play from Noah, who has volunteered again to do this. God bless you for that. And whoever else is on color commentary. The following day, I'm going to wrap up plugs with this because we are doing another Ask the Dads. I know we did Ask the Dads tomorrow, but I wanted to line up the rest of June based on what we're covering on the 13th and the 27th, of course, is John Cena's 50th anniversary. We want to make sure we did our John Cena-centric show that day. But June 6th, not only will we have Ask the Dads following Wayne's World, Party Time Excellent, Part 2. No, Wayne's World Part 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, Part 1. But I will be live on location at the happiest place on earth. And no, I'm not talking about Daly's Place. I'm talking about Disneyland. I'm very excited I get to go back to my other home away from home, the home of the magic, if you will. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy breakneck next few days. And honestly, based on what we talked about here during this conversation, the rest of this month is going to be breakneck because now that we've got the show for XPW, now that we've got the show coming up on the 18th, it looks like I'm going to have something going on every single day this month, be they live, be they Memorex, be they whatever they will be. I mean, again, the graphics aren't on the 18th and the 25th yet, but everything else is solid booked, kids. So,
yeah, those two dates for me aren't etched in stone yet, but they are very heavily rumored.
Right. And again, as JJ said, he's not going to Rampage on Friday the 3rd. June 3rd doesn't mean I'm not, so we'll see if I end up there. After I help cover Best Super Juniors, because like I said, I ain't got no cheating obligations come June 3rd, except for Dylan going to his mother's actually that day because he's going to be here for June for Canyon basketball. So in any event, that is what's coming up. We appreciate every single one of you that have been along for the ride the last nearly 9 hours, all 630 of you almost watching tonight. We appreciate the views. We appreciate all the contributions, the comments, no super chats, you cheap bastards. That's okay.
Two things real quick.
Yes, sir.
Number one, you mentioned that on a week from Monday, you're going to be broadcasting from the happiest place on earth. Thought you were already doing that this Wednesday when you go home to the forum.
Fair enough.
And number two, just as a friendly reminder to our audience, like you just said, no super chats today. But if we can get to $400 in super chats or donations to those two PayPals, that way YouTube doesn't eat the money.
Right.
$400 by the end of June, I will take the clippers to my hair. Like there's a lot of it there. It's not like Jeff cutting his hair.
Hey, you know what? You're not wrong, but damn it.
There is a lot of hair on this head.
We all remember what happened there.
Live on the air.
Live, folks. He's talking live.
And at the end of the day, y'all, think about it this way. At the end of the day, YouTube would not be preferred, but if it is what it is, and we get over that 400 because of the YouTube percentage algorithms, you bastards, that's $12 a day between two channels, at least. Come on, man. $12 a day for the content I've got. Where are we at here? There it is.
And before you guys question why is it so high, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm gonna be completely transparent. Me and Jeff are splitting this money. Since I'm the one putting something on the line, I'm getting a cut of it myself. That way, Jeff still gets money for all the content he's putting out there, all the extra features, putting together watch-alongs like this with this awesome team that we've had this evening, as well as a little something into my pocket to try to help get my channel moving and growing, because until I get monetized, I can't make money. So
exactly. So we're doing what we can, what we have available.
Make more money on donations than you can on YouTube because they'll eat the money.
Well,
exactly.
And
that's
that's
why
we're putting it
are
on
there.
PayPal. So
yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
Yep. But thank you all again. We really appreciate it. For Casey, who has stepped away because he was dog-ass tired, I don't blame him. For our buddy Big Baller G, for everybody that popped into the chat room, for everybody that was here all night.
Yes.
Man, we kept it above 25 for a good chunk of that presentation. So I was proud of that. Again, we hit 630 views almost all together. So I'm excited about that. Thank you all very, very much. I greatly appreciate it. And
Ken, Josh, CC, Raymond, all the others that popped in that I'm not naming.
Yep.
So again, we thank everybody. We really do. It is much, much appreciated. If I can get the graphic back up, I don't want it up here for no. Oh yeah, that one's fine, I guess. We will see everybody on the Jeff Meacham Network side of things beginning tomorrow again with Renegades reviews, Renegades recap coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm gonna get it right one of these days. I'm exhausted. Don't mind me.
2 Pacific, 5 Eastern.
And then
recap tomorrow begins the coverage.
And then again at 3 p.m. Pacific. See, I blocked it there. 6 p.m. Eastern for Red Notice featuring Dwayne Johnson, finishing out your Dwayne Johnson month, our Ryan Reynolds and Wonder Woman herself, Gal Gadot. And then, of course, Ask the Dads coming up after that. That's not the right one. Where? Oh, Jesus Christ. Botchamania is running wild. Nope. There. Nope.
I'm have you.
Nope. Just kidding. There it is.
And the winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Amen.
That is what we're going to see tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. So thank you all very much. We will see you guys all week, all month on the Jeff Meacham Network, on the Casa D18 Studios, on the Simple Man Studios, on the James Hebert Studios, and everywhere else that we haven't fallen completely the hell asleep by now, because it's damn near midnight here.
Yeah.
So, good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night. Happy Memorial Day. Remember the fallen. Support those who have lost, and we will see you
All
guys.
gave some, but some gave all.
And thank you. And thank you for all of you who liked my intro. Much appreciated.
Yes. Great job.
We gotta go now. I have no voice. Bye-bye.